janam Vaikuntam tad adhishtanam Vikuntam cha Swayamprabham Brahmovacha Atate munayo društva Nayanananda bhajanam Vikuntam tad adhishtanam Vaikuntam tad adhishtanam Vikuntam cha Swayamprabham Brahma Vacha. Lord Brahma said, Ata, now, te, those, Munayaha, sages, Društva, after seeing, Nayana, of the eyes, Ananda, pleasure, Bhajanam, producing, Vaikuntam, the Vaikuntha planet, Tat, of him, Adhishtanam, the abode, Vikuntam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Cha, and Swayamprabham, self-illuminating. Translation and purport by Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada. Lord Brahma said, after seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the self-illuminated Vaikuntha planet, the sages left that transcendental abode. Please repeat the translation. Lord Brahma said, after seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, in the self-illuminated Vaikuntha planet, the sages left the transcendental abode. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The transcendental abode of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as stated in Bhagavad Gita and confirmed in this verse, is self-illuminated. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said, in the spiritual world there is no need of sun, moon or electricity. This indicates that all the planets there are self-illuminated, self-sufficient and independent. Everything there is complete. Lord Krishna says that once one goes to that Vaikuntha planet, he never returns. The inhabitants of Vaikuntha never returned to the material world, but the incident of Jai Vijaya was a different case. They came to the material world for some time and then they returned to Vaikuntha. Next verse, I will recite myself. Bhagavantam parikramya pranipatya anumanya cha pratijagmu pramuditaha samshanto Vaiṣṇavim shriyam. The sages circumambulated the Supreme Lord, offered their obeisances and returned, extremely delighted at learning of the divine opulences of the Vaiṣṇava. Purport. It is still a respectful practice to circumambulate the Lord in Hindu temples. Especially in Vaiṣṇava temples, there is an arrangement for people to offer their respects to the deity and circumambulate the temple at least 3 times. Doesn't see Bhakti Vedanta Param. Om Ajnanatimira Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here the entire transaction details were being detailed by Lord Brahma to the demigods. The scenario was, the demigods became disturbed by the entire world becoming dark. It was almost like a devastation point. They felt something danger is about to come. So they approached Lord Brahma for this solution. So Lord Brahma was explaining them this scenario in which this entire situation has arisen. So this is a background information what is being provided by Lord Brahma. What had actually happened. So here Brahma Vacha, Brahma is explaining to all the demigods, Brahma Vacha, Atate Munayo Društva, then all the sages, the 4 Kumaras, Društva, they saw something. What did they see? Nayanananda Bhajanam. Whatever they saw, it was very pleasure giving to the eyes. Nayana Ananda Bhajanam. It enhanced the pleasure of their eyes. Vaikuntam Chad Adhishtanam. And where did they see? They saw in the Vaikuntha planet, the supreme transcendental abode, Tad Adhishtanam. Whom did they see there? Vikuntam Cha Swayamprabham. They saw the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vikuntam, and that entire planet was self-illuminating, Swayamprabham. The quality of Vaikuntha is explained there. So Lord Brahma said, after seeing the Lord of Vaikuntha, Atate Društva Vaikuntam Cha Nayanananda Bhajan. The experience when they saw the Supreme Lord was complete, full satisfaction to the eyes. Nayana Ananda Bhajan. It enhanced their pleasure. In the self-illuminated Vaikuntha planet, Swayamprabham Vaikuntam Cha Tad Adhishtanam, the sages left the transcendental abode. Munayaha, they went back to their respective place. So here the purport Prabhupada is saying, once one approaches the Vaikuntha planet, one never comes back to this material world. Yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. This we see at least 3-4 times in Bhagavad Gita. Then how come Jai Vijaya had fallen to this material world? So this is a special scenario by the will of the Lord, not by their personal actions. It is the desire of the Lord that they come to the material world to perform a specific activity in the service of the Lord, not for their personal sense gratification. So that way it is confirmed. Next, Bhagavantam Parikramya. What did they do before leaving to this material world? Bhagavantam Parikramya. They circumambulated the Lord. Pranipatya Anumanyacha. Then Pranipatya, they offered their obeisances. Anumanyacha, after learning about what did they learn in the Vaikuntha? Pratijagmo Pramuditaha. And they returned to their respective world. Pramoditaha, they became extremely delighted. Samshanto Vaishnavim Shriyam, by glorifying the divine qualities of Vaishnavas. So they became very happy, extremely happy by understanding the divine qualities of Vaishnava in Vaikuntha. The sages circumambulated the Supreme Lord, Bhagavantam Parikramya, offered their obeisances, Pranipatya, and returned, Pratijagmuhucha, extremely delighted, Pramoditaha, at learning of the divine opulences of Vaishnava. Anumanya Shamshanto Vaishnavim Shriyam. The whole point here was, what are the divine qualities which enhanced even the 4 Kumaras? Recap, what happened till now? The 4 Kumaras entered Vaikuntha. 6 gates they passed normally. They were marveling at the beautiful architecture, beautiful scenario. Nobody stopped them. At the 7th gate they saw 2 beautifully dressed, 4-armed gatekeepers. So as soon as these gatekeepers saw these 4 sages, they blocked them, their entrance to Vaikuntha, by placing their weapons in between. The first time Kumaras were experiencing an obstacle in their process, because the mood of Kumaras, they heard about the Supreme Lord from their father, they heard about Vaikuntha, they heard about the opulences of Vaikuntha. Out of their inquisitiveness, they came to Vaikuntha to experience what they heard. But see, our Kumaras, devotees or impersonalists at that point? So can they enter Vaikuntha? Are they qualified to enter Vaikuntha? So is it correct that Jai Vijaya have stopped Kumaras? Is there any wrong done by Jai Vijaya at that particular point? They have not done any wrong. On the contrary, you see Kumaras who became angry, who came under modes of passion and ignorance, who cursed the sages, who cursed the gatekeepers Jaya and Vijaya. Did the gatekeepers react? Did they say, did they counteract the curse? They are capable. They could also counteract the curse. Did they counteract? They remained silent there. See, a Vaiṣṇava ticket. Even though they were in a situation where they were cursed unjustly, they did not respond. And when the situation became little more serious, Lord appeared there personally. Because Kumaras could not enter into Vaikuntha, Lord came there to give them the audience because they were following the parampara system. They heard from Brahmā, so they were following the parampara system. So to give that 1 minute chance or 1 second chance, Lord appeared there. As soon as they saw the Lord with all the opulences, with Lakshmi and all the associates, Kumaras became immediately happy and they paid obeisances to the Lord. When they paid obeisances, that transcendental fragrance from the lotus feet of the Lord entered their nostrils and they experienced a change in their consciousness. They became devotees from that point. So then the Lord, seeing the situation, he wanted to pacify the Kumaras who were very angry. Then he started speaking sweet words. He started claiming that it was his own fault because assistant does wrong, the master takes the blame. A driver does a mistake, the owner takes the blame. Like that he gave 5-6 reasons. How the Kumaras were just are proper in cursing the Jai Vijaya and saying Brahmanas, why they are great, why devotees are very much appreciated, how the Lord's opulences increases because of the Brahmanas and their devotional service. In that way, Lord made the situation entirely that Kumaras started feeling humble. They started feeling, yes, actually we have done wrong. It is not that the sages have, not the gatekeepers have done wrong. It is we who have done this mistake. Finally, they realized their point. And they prayed to the Lord, my dear Lord, whatever punishment you want to give us, we are ready to accept. See how the situation has been handled by Lord. So the entire scenario glorifies Jai Vijaya. How? Simply, silently they were standing there and they were just witnessing the situation because they know it is will of the Lord. So they have to be a part in the service of the Lord. So this is what the Kumaras have experienced. What is that? Divine opulences of Vaiṣṇava. The same situation we experience in the same material world. Somebody coming to the temple door, we are stopping them there. What will happen? Somebody is coming for darshan, you stop him exactly there. What will happen? Huh? Now first he will take his mobile, he will start shooting. He wants to put it into social media, what is happening here. And he will pour out all his emotions saying that, see, these people, when we came here, they are stopping us from darshan. And so many other things. Masala gets cooked up so much. Then the interactions becomes very bitter. Then whatever you do, he will never be pacified. See, the same, you see the experience of what is spiritual world and what is material world. How things happen in the spiritual world, the same qualities, how material world, the same qualities deteriorate. So this is what we have to understand, the contrast between material world and the spiritual world. So Rupa Goswami has glorified the devotees, the glories of the devotees by quoting some verses. He says, Tebhyo namostu bhavavaradi jirna panka sammagna moksha vichakshana padukebhyaha krishneti varna yugala shravanena yesham anandatur bhavati nartita roma vrindaha. He is saying, Tebhyo namostu. He is saying, to the Vaishnavas, to the great devotees, I offer my respectful obeisances. Bhavavaradi jirna panka sammagna mokshana vichakshana padukebhyaha. The lotus feet of the devotees, simply by hearing the two syllables Krishna, Krishneti varna yugala shravanena yesham, simply by hearing Krishna iti, Varna Yugala Shravanena, the two syllables Krishna, when they hear that word Krishna, Anandatur Bhavati, they become extremely happy. Anandatur Bhavati. Nirtita Roma Vrindaha, their bodily hair becomes like Pulakinta. When you hear extreme happy or extreme distress, two situations where our bodily hairs will spring out in like when you get electric shock, what will happen? Your body hairs and all will be like poles, they stand. This extreme shock. Extreme happiness, when very extreme goodness you get, the bodily hairs will stand. Roma Harshana. So when you hear, when the devotees, when they hear Krishna, they experience that extreme happiness, it seems. And Bhavavaradi Jirna Panka Sammagna Mokshana Vichakshana Padukebhyaha. With their footwear, Padukebhyaha, they expertly extricate the fallen souls, deeply sunk in the fetid mud of the ocean of repeated birth and death. Bhavavaradi Jirna Panka Sammagna Mokshana Vichakshana. Bhavavaradi, the ocean of cycle of birth and death. Jirna Pankaha means there is a mud which is like pulling you inside, that mud. Heavy mud. You know what is that soft mud? Soft sand, you say? In deserts or some places it is called as soft mud, soft sand. Ubi. You try to go there, it will pull you inside. The more you struggle, the more you go faster. The more you stand still, you don't go inside. The more you want to come out of it, the more it will pull you down. That's the nature of this soft sand, it is called. Ubi. So, Sammagna Mokshana Vichakshana. And what are they trying to do? They are trying to pull us from this mokshana, from this mud of material world of cycle of birth and death. Then next he says, Hari Smriti Ahlada Stimita Manaso Yasha Kritinaha Sa Romanchaha Kavyam Nayanam Apisananda Salilam Tam Eva Chandrarkam Vaha Purusha Dauryayam Avane Kimanyaister Bharer Yamasadana Gati Agati Paraihi. Hari Smriti, by remembering Hari, Ahlada Stimitaha Manasaha, their minds and hearts become extremely happy, it seems, simply by remembering Hari. The qualities of Vaiṣṇava, this is enumerating. When you say who are Vaishnavas, what are their qualities? These are the qualities. Then Yasya Kritinaha, and their Sa Romanchaha, their bodily hairs becomes like stand erect. And Kayam Nayanam Api Sa Nanda Shalilam, their eyes becomes filled with tears of joy, happiness tears. There are tears of sorrow, there are tears of joy. Tears of sorrow are hot and salty in nature. Tears of happiness are sweet and cold in nature. There is a difference. Shastras say, when you cry in sorrow, your tears come from one direction. When you cry in happiness, your tears come from other direction. There is a difference in this way. How whether it is Ananda Bashpa or Shoka Bashpa. So how Shastra has delineated how things happen. When you are angry, when you are sorry, your tears are very hot. When you are happy, your tears are very cold. So next time when you cry, you should know whether it is hot tears or cold tears, try to experience which corner it is coming, so that you will, this is realization, whatever we have heard theory. So then, Tam Eva Chandrarkam, and their glory, how long will it exist in this material world? Vaishnavas are glorified as long as there are sun and moon in this material world. Tam Eva Chandrarkam Vaha Purusha Dauryam Avane. As long as this world exists with the sun and moon, their names are glorified in this material world. Prahlad Maharaj, when did this pastime happen? In 6th Manvantara, we are in 7th Manvantara. Dhruv Maharaj, when did that happen? Gajendra, when did that happen? 4th Manvantara, 1st Manvantara. So different Manvantaras time, even today still we are experiencing that names are glorified, and Dhruva is so glorified that the entire universe is rotating about him. Achandra Tararkam, as long as sun and moon exist in this material world, the devotee's glory is celebrated in this material world. Kimanyasir bharer yamasadana gati agati paraihi. Then what is the use of carefully maintaining those other burdensome persons who simply intent on coming and going from the house of Yamaraja? So Mother Earth, what is the use of maintaining so many people who simply go to Yamaloka and come back and go to Yamaloka and come back, means repeated birth and death. So just maintain the devotees who are glorified, who will bring glory to you, Mother Earth. In that way, one Vaiṣṇava Acharyas are glorified. See how it is so special of Vaishnava qualities. Then further it says, Yadi madhumatana tavangri sevam hrudi vidadati jahati cha va viveki tadakilam api dushkrutam triloke krutam akrutam na krutam cha sarvam. So here it is saying, O madhumatana, O my dear Madhusudana, yadi viveki, if a wise person who can discriminate, hrudi tvadangri sevam, in his heart he serves your lotus feet, vidadati jahati va, then any sins he may have done are all completely nullified. Simply by doing devotion service through one's heart, all his sins which have been performed from many lives are completely nullified. Tad akilam api dushkrutam triloke krutam akrutam. But if he disregards your devotional service, then all the sinful reactions within these three worlds will come back to him. And na krutam cha sarvam, even though he had not performed any sinful activity, just by being against devotional service, he attracts all the sinful reactions of the world upon him itself. Understood? What does it mean? When you engage in bhakti, it cleanses you of all unwanted sinful reactions. When you do not engage in bhakti, you attract all the sinful reactions of the entire world upon you, even though you have not done any sinful reaction. Just by becoming a non-devotee, you are attracting all misfortune of the world upon you. Alam yam eva praninam patakanam nirasana vishaya krishna krishneti vani yadi bhavati mukunde bhaktir ananda sandra viluttati charanabje moksha samrajya Lakshmi. The devotees are so great. Ya Krishna iti vani. When devotees chant Krishna, alam iyam evaha, that is just sufficient. Just by chanting Krishna. So, nirasana vishaya, to purify us of all unwanted vishaya, material sense gratification. Krishna's name is sufficient to take us away from this material sense gratification. Praninam patakanam, and our people become all free from all the sinful reactions. Patakanam, of all sinful categories. And yadi bhavati mukunde bhaktir ananda sandraha, when they blissfully engage in devotion service to Lord Mukunda, then moksha samrajya Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune of liberation, viluttati charanabje, she bows down at their lotus feet. So Mukti Devi is standing with folded hands at the doorstep of a devotee saying, my dear sir, what can I serve you? How can I be in your service? So Mukti herself, Mukti Mukatanjali Sevate Asman Dharmartha Kaman Vishya Pratikshan. So Mukti personified is standing at the doorstep of the devotee and are serving the devotee, how can I be in your service? So Mukti itself becomes insignificant on the service of the Lord. The Shastras have glorified, now we have understood what this perspective is. The Vaishnava's position, further it says, Tatreva Ganga Yamuna cha, Jai Shri Radha Govinda ki, Tatra Godavari, Tatra Saraswati cha, Sarvani Tirthani Vasanti Tatra, Yatra Achyuto Dhara Kata Prasanga. So, all these sacred rivers, Ganga, Yamuna, Saraswati, Narmada, Sarvani Tirthani Vasanti Tatra, they all stay at that particular place, all the transcendental purifying places. Yatra Achyuta Udara Kata Prasangaha, where the divine pastimes of Lord Krishna are narrated among devotees. Means where Vaishnavas assemble, their duty is to discuss about the Krishna's pastimes, and where Krishna's pastimes are discussed, all the spiritual potent places are existing at that place of Krishna's discussions are happening. So, Vaiṣṇava Tantra, it explains about the qualities of material world to qualities of spiritual world. There are 18 qualities which do not exist in the spiritual world, which exist in the material world. We heard of Vaiṣṇava qualities, now here let us hear our material world qualities. What are these unwanted material world qualities? Ashtadasha Maha Dosha. There are these 18 greater faults. Maha Dosha. Rahita Bhagavat Tanuhu. The Supreme Lord is free from this Ashtadasha Maha Dosha. Sarvaishwaryamayi Satya Vijnana Ananda Rupini Ashtadasha Maha Dosha Yata Vishnu Yamale. These 18 dangerous things are explained in Vishnu Yamala. Moha Tandra Brahmo Ruksha Rasata Kama Ulbanaha Lolata Mada Masarye Himsha Keda Parishramo Asatyam Krodha Akanksha Ashanka Vishwa Vibramaha Vishamatvam Parapeksha Dosha Ashtadashoditaha. The 18 faults that are described in Vishnu Yamala are Mohaha, first one is perplexity. Then Tandra, sleep. In Vaikuntha there is no illusion, there is no sleep. Then Brahmā means mistake. Rushka Rasata, artificial attachment without actual love. Then Kama Ulbanaha, troublesome heart. Lolata, fickleness. Mada, intoxicated behavior. Mascharya, envy. Himsa, violent behavior. Kheda, weariness. Parishrama, fatigue due to overwork. Asatya, not truth, lying. Krodha, anger. Akanksha, expectation to obtain a desired object. Ashanka, doubt. Vishwa Vibramaha, indulgence in worldly activities. Vishamatva, partiality. Parapeksha, dependence on others. So these are the 18 qualities which do not exist in the spiritual world, which exist only in this material world with people who are bound by this bodily concept of life. When Lord comes, He also displays these qualities, but in a positive sense. All these qualities, when they apply to the Lord, they become glorified in the Lord. For example, it says, this is commentary by Jiva Goswami on this subject. He says, Moha or perplexity, when Krishna, Brahma Vimohan Leela happened, for one particular point, Lord Krishna was confused. He went to search for the calves, he did not find the calves. He came back to see boys, he did not find. So he became perplexed. What is happening here? He became confused. He became captivated by the situation for a moment. But next moment he could realize it was Brahma's plan. He came out of that captivation. This is one particular circumstance where Brahma is trying to do Vimohana of Krishna, but actually Krishna was never bewildered by Brahma. The pastime became glorified. The same quality, material quality, when it becomes attached to us, it becomes degraded. But it becomes connected to Krishna, it becomes glorified. So this is one particular pastime. Then sleep. Sometimes Krishna grew tired from fighting while all the cowherd boys were playing in the forest. So they used to run, they used to play, then they used to become exhausted, and Krishna used to sleep on the lap of a boy, and one more boy used to come and massage his feet, and somebody used to fan him with the leaves, and somebody used to decorate him, somebody used to cool his body. So in that way Krishna was experiencing that sleep, but that sleep was Yoga Nidraha. Ours is Moha Nidraha. There's a big difference. When we go to sleep, we are like we become blank, Dumbo, we become like a stone. But when the Lord is sleeping, it is like extreme pleasure, Yoga Nidraha. Then Brahma, making mistake. When Krishna and Balarama, with the strength of their legs, crawled and they are trying to see the calves, so they were passing through all the places where there was cow dung, cow urine. They were like small serpents growing around in all these cow dung, cow urine, and all this Goshala around. They were all playing around. And their ankle bells, when they are moving, that sound was tinkling, was so nice to hear. Then people were all standing there and seeing how Krishna and Balarama are playing around in this Goshala along with the scarfs. Then Krishna and Balarama are holding on to, they were thinking, we can hold on to this calf and we can stop him. But that calf became so excited that somebody is holding its tail and they started dragging them here and there. So Krishna and Balarama, they were thinking in Brahma, we can hold on to this calf. But that calf was making them run around. So this is some pastime. That Brahma mistake, thinking of expectation something. So but that pastime becomes glorified. Everybody were appreciating, everybody are standing there and witnessing the situation. Then Ruska Rasata means artificial attachment without actual love. So in this material world, everything, we become attached to our car. But when new car comes, this attachment is gone. Or we become attached to our phone. When new version comes, our attachment goes to next version. So this is vastu based attachment, with actually there is no love. So this is one more quality of material world. Then ulbana kamaha. The lust of this material world is like a volcano which is about to erupt. In the spiritual world, is there any lust? There is only love there. In this material world only this lust is there. And this lust is ulbanaha, means like a volcano which is about to be erupted. Then lolata, fickleness. So one of the adult gopi complained to Mother Yashoda, your son sometimes comes to our house before milking of the cows. And when there is no milk readily available for him to drink, what he does? He breaks all the pots, whatever are available there. Then he passes urine in the house which is just cleaned and kept. Then when there are small babies sleeping there, he will go and pinch them and make them cry. Means if he does not get what he desired, Krishna is ready to do anything and everything to disturb the entire scenario. That fickleness, that restlessness. Sometimes small children, when they come to a counter, when they see that vastu which they want to purchase, and parents are saying, no, don't purchase, we will not give you. What will they do? They will lie on the floor, they will be rolling here and there, they will be hitting their hands and legs. They are desperate to get that vastu. That fickleness it is called. So Krishna also exhibited that fickleness, but it is transcendental fickleness. Next, mada or intoxicated behavior. Krishna respectfully greets his well-wishing friends. His eyes roll slightly as if from intoxication. He wears a flower garland and the beauty of his soft cheeks is accentuated by the brilliance of his golden earrings and the whiteness of his face which has the color of bhadra berry. Means Krishna's eyes look almost like an intoxicated person. The love of the Lord for his devotees make him like that love. When somebody is in prema, they are always like intoxicated, means they are always thinking of only that person. So Krishna's love for his devotees, always thinking of them, it's almost like he is always in their mood only. That looks like his eyes are always like intoxicated. Next, enviousness. So Krishna is saying, by my mystic power, I will certainly counteract this disturbance caused by Indra. Demigods like Indra are proud of their opulence, and out of foolishness they foolishly consider themselves to be Lord of universe. I will now destroy their ignorance. So sometimes Krishna, he is the most egoistic person. Indra is challenging him, Brahma is challenging him. Arey, who are you in front of me? You are like chutkus. So Lord wanted to show who is great. You want to come competition to me? So Krishna said, yes, I will show you what I am. So Indra failed miserably, Brahma failed miserably. So that envy, arrogance, he is there to purify us of these tendencies. In the material world, we have been blessed by the opportunity to engage in the service of the Lord. When we think that we are great, what is happening is, independently of the Lord, then we become envious and Lord purifies us of this contamination. Next, himsa or violence, we see at many places where Krishna is engaging in violence to remove all the unwanted obstacles from devotee's perspective. Whenever devotee becomes anxious, and Krishna was clearing of that by his fighting tendency, himsa, torture to others, violence. Then asatya, Krishna also lied. Krishna lies. Did Krishna lie or no lie? Mother Yashoda was catching ear and saying, have you eaten the mud? Krishna is saying no. Have you stolen the makkan? He is saying no. See, but that lying is transcendentally sweet pastime. When Krishna does anything, when Krishna steals, he's stealing, which is very wrong in this material world. When Krishna steals, it becomes a pastime. When we steal, we become beaten up nicely. So the same quality, when it is in the Lord, it becomes glorified. That is to say, all these material qualities only. But when they apply to the Lord, they become glorified. When they apply to us, they become degraded. So like that, all these qualities have been enumerated. So there was a devotee family in Rajasthan, Udaipur district, Udaipur state. There were 4 brothers and they were serving the king in different capacities. And the 4th one was known as Kamadvaja. He was a great devotee of the Supreme Lord. Whole thing was, he used to whole day sing for the bhajans of the Lord for his satisfaction. And after serving the Lord by singing and dancing for his heart content, he used to go home, eat food, and again he used to go to the forest, and again he used to sing for the glorification of the Lord. This was his daily routine. The other brothers used to become angry, and they used to consider him, you are useless fellow, good for nothing, because he is not earning anything, he is eating their share of earning also. One day the brother said to the smaller one, if you go to the court of the king for some time and mark your attendance, then king will give us your salary also. Just go, punch, like a government office. You know what is the rule in government office? It is called as 2 punch, 1 lunch. Entry punch, exit punch with 1 lunch. This is government office. So this kingdom is also something like that. You do the 2 punch, 1 lunch, we will get your salary also. We will be able to manage this family. Then Kamadvaja is saying, I serve only the Supreme Lord, I don't serve any of these materially people or materially rich people or materially kings or anything. I only mark my attendance to the Supreme Lord's abode. I will not do anything in this mortal people. Then I don't require, when I have the Supreme Lord as my master and as my maintainer, what is my need for this, all these temporary people like that and all, he was glorifying. The brothers became angry on hearing this reply. And they said, do whatever you want, die whatever you do. So they left him for that purpose. And they went on their own. One day, while singing bhajans in the forest, he passed away. And there was no information to the family because he was there alone in the forest. The brothers also had no idea what happened to him. Then everybody forgot where he was, what happened to him. Can the Supreme Lord forget? The Lord will never forget his devotee. He entrusted the responsibility of cremation to Hanumanji. So Hanumanji created a sandalwood pyre and placed his body upon that, and he did the final rituals and cremated him. Then all the ghosts and spirits who are all taking shelter in that forest, by smelling that fragrance coming from the bodily pyre of the devotee, when they inhaled that effulgence or fragrance, they all become liberated from their ghostly bodies and they all became like normal personalities. They got to their next destination. The holy smoke coming out of his pyre had such a divine effect. By its touch and smell, all the ghosts became freed from that ghostly form and went for the holy abode. Means how great a devotee service, devotional commitment is. Even though whole world was against them, their own family members were against them, but their devotee, their commitment to the Supreme Lord was always highest. So that's how things happen in this material world. So there was like one small scenario. There was a person who used to work in a company. So he is a great devotee who used to work So every day, and he used to respect everybody. So one day, every day when he used to come, he used to greet the person, security person, and he used to mark his attendance. One day evening, there was some problem in the generator. So the execution team gave him the task to finish that and go home after that. So he was there inside the generator room and getting it work done. And it was 6:30, everybody left away. And while going away, some of the people forgot that he was there inside the room and they locked the door and went away. And it was dark. He finished his job. Now how to come out? It was locked. Nobody will be there in the company. Then he was desperately sitting there and not knowing what to do. He was singing his bhajans and kirtans. What can be done? No other engagement till next day morning. At around 8 o'clock, there was a knock. The security guard came there. He was with his torchlight. He was searching everywhere. He opened the door and he found this man where sound was coming, singing and bhajan. Then this person asked, how did you get to know that I am here? How did you know that I am there inside only? Sir, you are the only person who used to greet me in the morning and evening. Today I had my morning punch, evening punch was not registered. So I know you have not left the office, you are still there inside. See, a materially person who can just understand by our sincerity, then what to speak of the Supreme Lord? So by our morning and evening, what we are doing to the Supreme Lord, we are coming morning and evening, we are coming and saying, my dear sir, I am present today. Morning Mangalarti I am present, evening Shayanarti I am present. So that we will be there in his thoughts and in his actions. So devotees simply pray for this only, to be in the memory of the Lord, in the memory of Guru and Vaishnavas. So that by their blessings, in whatever desperate situation we are, they are there for us to take us out and take us with them back home, back to God. I'll stop here. Any questions or doubts?
Other person, this security guard was also, he was also becoming humble, and also in this Dwarapalaka's case, Lord was being so humble so that they can realize their mistake. But while dealing in the material world, many times we don't find, even though become more and more humble, the other person doesn't catch that. This quality of checking oneself and finding one's own mistakes is many times lacking. Maybe most of the times, or at least more than 50% of the times. So how to deal, Prabhu? Because being devotees, we are supposed to be silent, and if the person can understand his mistake, that's what the best, but how to do?
So this makes us understand, am I communicating properly? You are trying to communicate at present to the opposite person that he is at mistake. So we have to improve in our communication to make him understand what the scenario was, how he was wrong at the circumstance. So we have to improve in our presentation, might be. Lord is also teaching us that we are not capable of convincing opposite person means. Lord is saying you have to use means and ways, you have to use your intelligence. That is one thing from our side. The other thing is, if the opposite person is a stubborn, dumbo fellow, you can't do anything. So you pray for him, oh, my dear Lord, give him good sense. And you don't pray for his destruction. See what happens in the material world. If somebody does harm to us, what will be our whole endeavor? How he can be destroyed? We go to the Lord and we also pray, all my enemies should be finished off. See, we are praying for their destruction. So that we should not do here. That attitude we should not continue here. We should pray for their deliverance. That's what Acharyas pray. So that's what, that feelings of emotions of the Vaishnavas and Acharyas we should inculcate. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu just said somebody chant Hare Krishna, they started chanting, even animals started chanting. If I try to do, if I say to a dog or a cat, chant Hare Krishna, will it chant? So we have to understand what is my capacity also. So only thing is, we should give them an opportunity. Okay, you cannot chant. At least I can chant, you hear, you listen. That much Sukriti I can give him. I am not that pure enough to make them chant, but I am qualified enough to chant this holy name. You hear that holy name and you become qualified. Next life, somewhere you can become one of our associates. Somewhere. We should increase our band, no? Our group should increase. So we should give for future generations. If not today, some other day, he'll come and join Krishna consciousness. We should feel, okay, we should give opportunity. Someday they will come and join Krishna consciousness. So let me work in that direction. It may not be in this life, maybe some other life he will become devotee. So this is how our realization has to increase.
And Prabhu, regarding sleep, Prabhu, is it always to be in Tamoguna? Sleep means being in Tamoguna, because even while chanting, if we doze also, we feel that the consciousness is gone and suddenly we wake up and we don't know where we are, and even when we wake up in the night also we don't know where we are. Almost it's like Tamoguna, full of Tamoguna.
No, one thing is you have to understand, see, Prabhupada had said 6 hours sleep. Now, some bodies, because we are not perfectly trained, bodies from Satvaguna, Rajoguna, Tamoguna are there. Satvaguna body 4-5 hours is sufficient. For Rajoguna 6 hours is sufficient. For Tamoguna bodies, it requires 6 to 8 hours. First understand whether my body is getting that sufficient rest. Then after that, if it is still demanding, then it is my problem. If you give that basic sleep to that body, then it should not demand anything more. Like you are preparing to attend Mangalarti. Correct. Now be prepared that your body has got sufficient rest so that it will not disturb you in your sadhana perspective. That I have to work hard. I have to understand my body's sleep pattern, cycle pattern, then we can get to know these details, then we can improve in that area. So body is demanding sleep means it has not sufficient sleep. That's why it is demanding. So some technical details are required for that analysis. Okay.
From the lotus feet of Lord, so they became devotees. So how this conversation immediately transformed, Prabhu, like impersonal to personal?
So that is when they inhaled the fragrance coming from the lotus feet of the Lord. They fell down at the lotus feet of the Lord to pay obeisances. Then the Tulsi Makaranda Vayuhu, if you read the 3rd canto, 15th chapter, 43rd verse, which glorifies about this scenario. So they paid obeisances and the fragrance coming from the lotus feet of the Lord entered their nostrils. And they experienced a change in their body and consciousness. See, they have been hearing that the touch of the Lord, something is required for them to transform from impersonal realization to devotee realization.
Okay, their knowledge got like satisfied with that thing.
Whatever they have been hearing about the Supreme Lord became fully visualized to them. See, Kumaras were also not ordinary people. They are all empowered incarnations. They are knowledge personified. Like Narada Muni is Bhakti personified. And Kumaras were knowledge personified. In the 1st canto, 3rd chapter, the incarnations list, Kumaras were also one of the incarnations. They came to propagate a certain element of the Lord. The 6 opulences, different devotees, different opulences they propagated. Kumaras were that knowledge, jnana aspect they propagated. Okay.